day and welcome to the second episode of Couple with Corlette. I've just put the kettle on, so grab a chair or have a lie down and relax and enjoy. Now, I want to say I've been absolutely gobsmacked by the response to the first episode. Genuinely, I wasn't entirely sure if anyone was going to listen, and it turns out quite a few of you did. So thank you. The emails have been coming in thick and fast, and I'm getting to them, I promise. I've had a very big week. So without further ado, let's get stuck into it. It's now time for the week that was. Right, this week, Aqua Groovers on Wednesday. Tracy had us going absolutely flat out. I lost a pool noodle somewhere around the cool down track and spent the last sort of 3 minutes just sort of floating and hope nobody would notice. And there was a bloke sitting up outside the leisure centre afterwards, and he had a fold-out table, a banner, the whole operation, selling aqua aerobics equipment. And I've been wanting a set of ankle cups, and so I thought this was an ideal opportunity. And so I went and picked up a set, $250. $250 for 2 bits of weighted straps that just go around your ankles. And that was with the seniors discount. So I put them back. Des said he's gonna make me a pair. He reckons he could do it with like kids' floaties, armbands and some fishing sinkers. I said to Des, like, the only problem I can see is that how am I going to blow the bloody things up once they're around my ankles? Anyway, so he said he's got a plan for that. Now, the neighbours at the back. For those who are new, we have a situation with the neighbours at the back. They have, on more than one occasion, taken issue with my wind chimes. Words have been exchanged. It hasn't been pleasant. This week I walked out onto the back deck on Thursday morning and I found 3 chicken necks on the deck. They were raw chicken necks just sitting there, and a note. And the note said in capital letters, "You're next," spelt NECK''ST. I showed Des and he read it and said, "What does that mean?" And I said, "Des, I think it's a threat." He said, what kind of threat involves a chicken neck? I said, "Dad, I think that's the point. It is sinister. We haven't caught anyone, but it has put me on edge, I have to admit, so I'll have to keep an eye on them." Des got new tyres this week. The tyre shop had a pay for 3, get 1 tyre deal. He was down there like a flash before I had even finished reading the flyer. We've been thinking about taking the van away soon, so I think that timed out well. Now, Denise framed last week and she told us that we should be eating more protein and suggested that we should try quinoa. For those that are unfamiliar, quinoa, which Denise pronounces quinoa, like quinoa, it's apparently a grain or a seed or both. Denise says it's very high in protein and very good for you, especially as we're getting older, and we should incorporate it into our diet. So I bought a bag of it. Then Des and I sat down to it on Tuesday night. It tasted like sand. We both tried it. We looked at each other, and I had another spoonful to be sure. And Des says, "Is this supposed to taste like this?" He even thinks he chipped his part of his tooth. We didn't finish it. I've since been told that you're supposed to cook it first, so that might have been relevant. But honestly, even with that information, I'm not sure we'll be revisiting that. So I had lunch at the food court at the Plaza on Friday. Des had a quarter of chicken and chips. I wasn't feeling overly hungry, so I just had the falafel sampler. And finally, we got a phone call this week from a man from Microsystem Global Tech Certified. And I said, "I'm sorry, who?" And he said, "Microsystem Global Tech Certified." He asked if I had a firewall, and I told him we had a fire extinguisher in the laundry. But he was saying he was ringing to let us know that our computer had network contamination. I said, "Network contamination?" He said, "Yes, very serious. Something has gotten through the firewall and he needed to flush it out remotely." He said he needed me to log in and give him the password and he could sort it all out his end. Now, I watch A Current Affair. I watch it nearly every single night, and I've seen this exact segment, and then it twigged in my brain, and I said to him, That's very kind of you, sir, but I'll get my grandson, Tyler, to have a look at it. And then they just hung up. So just beware, people. There are scammers out there. So that's been my week. Now it's time for I've got something to say, and I'm not happy about it. Now, I want to talk about the ibis situation in Tweed Heads. For those listening from overseas, and hello again, the ibis is a large white bird here in Australia. It's got a long curved beak, a black leathery head. We call them bin chickens here. Now, I was sitting in the park on Thursday morning, beautiful morning. I had my tote bag on the ground, the green one from the Tweed Regional Gallery, which I'm quite fond of. I was minding my own business, and then I became aware of a presence. I looked to my left, and there it was, a bin chicken, like a huge one, just standing on the path about 2 meters away, just looking at me, not moving, just looking with that beak, like he was doing an assessment. And then I want you to understand what happened next, that it took approximately 1.5 seconds. He lunged. Not at me, at the tote bag. He went for the tote bag with that beak like he'd been watching me for some time, and he'd made the decision. I had already taken off one of my espadrilles and threw it at it. It missed. But it was enough, thank goodness, that he took a step back, looking at the espadrille on the ground, and looked at me and then walked off towards in the direction of the swings. A woman walked past with a Labrador and she said, "Was that attacking you?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "They're getting worse." And I said, "They are considerably worse." Here's my 2 cents. The ibis problem in this area is not new. It's not a surprise. It did not sneak up on anyone. These birds have been escalating for years. And anyone who visits that park on a regular basis knows they are bold. They are organised. That bird on Thursday had a plan. He cocked the tote bag. He assessed the situation. He decided I was a reasonable target, and he moved. This is not opportunistic behaviour. This is strategy. That is a bird who has done this before and would do it again. So what I would like to know is, what does council intend to do about it? Because at the moment, the answer appears to be nothing. There are no signs. There are no deterrents, no traps. There is no official announcement that there are a large aggressive bird population in that park. They've become so emboldened to the point of mugging people on a Thursday morning. And I want to be clear, I'm not suggesting anything drastic. I like birds. I have a great affection for pelicans, and I'm not anti-bird. I'm specifically and exclusively anti for this particular bird behaving in this particular way in this particular park, because it's only a matter of time before someone gets either seriously hurt or even killed. What if an elderly person or a small child didn't have a spare espadrille to throw at it? Anyway, that's my rant. But if council, if you're listening, please do something about the bin chickens. And now it's time for What's for Dinner, Corlette. Tonight we're having lamb chops with mint sauce. The mint sauce is from Rosella. It's got the green leaf there. The chops are from the butcher at the plaza, not the supermarket. We made the switch 2 years ago, and because we like to support the locals. They're sitting out of the fridge because you never put a cold chop on a hot pan. That's what my mother told me. Des likes his chops well done. I like mine a little pink. So for dessert, we're going to have rhubarb and apple crumble with whipped cream. Now it's time for Corlette's Tingly Bits. Back by popular demand, I have to say I was not expecting the response to last week's Tingly Bits. I got heaps of emails about it. Now, for people who missed last week, ASMR stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response, which my daughter explained to me. It's when certain sounds give you a pleasant, tingly feeling in your brain. That I tried it last week and apparently it worked for you guys. So we're doing it again. I've gathered a few new things this week, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the process. Now's the time for Spin That Wheel. Okay, we'll give the wheel a spin. We've got hype break. Oh, good. Right, everyone get up, come on. Now, for those of you who are driving or operating heavy machinery, stay where you are. This one's not for you. We'll catch you next week. Everyone else on your feet, come on, up you get. Right, I learned this at Zumba on Monday. Our instructor Sandra, she said this in the move you do when you need to shake off the day and reset. And I thought this is going straight into the podcast. It's called, I wrote this down, the cumbia step. Here we go. Feet shoulder width apart. Good. Now you're going to step to the right. Step, together, step, together. That's it. Now you add your arms, just a little sway, nothing dramatic. You're not in a music video. Now here's the bit that Sandra does that I like. She says, while you're moving, you take a breath in through your nose for the count of 4. And there you go, right? You can sit back down now. And now it's time for our final segment. What's that mystery sound? Married at First Sight is on tonight. I think it's in the credenza. Where's that rosé? Because we need that. That's for Nolene when she comes on Saturday afternoon. Did you give Kevin his worming tablet? Because he's still wiping his bum on the rug.